Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Between Two Brokers. Today, we have the lovely ladies from Graceful Spaces, Christina and Rebecka. Thanks for coming.
Hi, you guys. Hi. It's so great to be here.
I know, we're so excited to be here.
So tell us a little bit about your business.
Yeah, so Graceful Spaces is a home organization company, but we are a little different than a traditional organizing company. We like to think of it as home organization reinvented. So a lot of times you think of it, the baskets, the bins, the organizing, the home edit. But what we like to think about is how a home functions together and how the spaces support one another. So we specialize in whole homes or multiple spaces, like kitchen, pantry, laundry, primary closet, primary bathroom, and organizing those together so that they make sense and understanding how we can use a home to its maximum potential. And then beyond just the signature organizing, we take it a couple steps further. One being our Fresh Starts program. So when someone moves in, we can help support anything from hand soap to dish towels to, what else do we do? Full bathrooms, like the toilet paper to the
over 3,000 items.
And we bring it and unpack it, and we can have it done in a week. So when you think about most people moving, it takes a year to settle. We escalate that process and do it in a week. And then also our Building Luxe service, which Rebecka oversees, where we can come alongside trade teams and actually lean in as an expert from organizational perspective on either a new construction or a remodel, and just make sure, one, there's no glaring mistakes, such as having shelves that are 10 inches when a standard plate is 12, or looking and saying, hey, there's actually a lot of opportunity to store some of your items in a different way, or hey, I actually noticed you have 75 pairs of boots, but we're only going to be able to put 3 in this closet, so we need to readjust. So it's really cool. She can provide the schematic drawings. So there's just a few ways that we're trying to think outside the box of a traditional organizer to provide services to our client that are really unique and extremely impactful.
Well, and the biggest privilege we get is sometimes getting to do all 3 in a row. So start with the Building Luxe, help them at the very beginning before drawings have even started, and say, let's talk about your family. And then start Fresh Starts program of like, okay, now let's really get to know your family. Like, do you want a KitchenAid? Do you want like hand towels? We'll set up like an entire suite for guests of like, here's your Q-tips. I mean, over 3,000 items. And then they move in all their stuff. We organize everything down to like labeling, like here's your PBJ and honey and spreads. And they move in. And like that feeling of like getting to do it all is like such a great feeling for us. For everyone involved, especially the client.
When you move, you think about the right now. You think about, like, you move in the summer, you think about summer sports activities, you think about beach. You don't think about hosting for Christmas or where you're going to put your turkey stuff and all of that. So we're thinking all year round. And even when she's doing the Building Luxe, it's really cool. It's like, well, you have 3 children and they each do 2 sports. Where's the off-season sports going to go? How's that rotation going to happen? So those thoughts and conversations are what result in 90% of our clients saying a year to sometimes 4 years later, this still works. I know how to maintain this system because we're Americans. Things come in and out. So when we leave, if we just placed it, it's not going to work. But if we placed it with intention of here's how you rotate in, here's how you rotate out, here's what happens with your routines when they change, and we only come back for major life events, they can keep it up, which is a big deal.
How does somebody get into this?
Yes.
Like, were you just like super organized children?
That's a good question.
I was, but I mean.
Yeah.
That's a good question. Organizing, I think it started in 1983. But it's only in the last 5 years become a thing, like more popular. So
Marie Kondo.
Excuse me?
Marie Kondo opened the
Marie
door
Kondo
for all
did
of this.
spark it. And the home edit, they propelled all this.
Exactly.
And they've made it possible. There's so many different options now than there were 5 years ago when it comes to like organizational products and tools to kind of, maximize space. But I mean, there's a lot between I was Christina one day and Christina, the professional organizer, the next. So the industry is kind of bringing along ways that you can become trained in that. NAPO has been around for a long time, National Association of Professional Organizers, which we're members of. So when we started the company, we became members of NAPO. And then, I think we took some time to kind of do some case studies and see what works and what doesn't, where we see sustainability, what works for different types of families, different personalities, pilers, filers. So we kind of came at it from a little bit of a strategic perspective, and we developed a course. So yeah, I mean, like, organized people by nature and love homes and have a passion for how people use their homes.
Well, I think too, like, your background says so much about you, right? So I was born in Sweden, and you know, IKEA is like Sweden, and like very just simple ways in Sweden. And then spent 10 years in Manhattan with a family of 4 and under 900 square feet. And so, exactly.
Oh my God.
So when you're thinking through that, you start really, like, editing. Editing's a really big part of our, you know, like, what do you need to keep, what do you don't? But we're not saying that you need to be minimalist, because we all know Amazon's going to bring us 5 packages a day. And so, like, how do you handle that? And so people would come to, like, my apartment and be like, how'd you do this? And I'm like, I don't know. You just, like, you know, you develop a system. Yeah. And so to bring that to other people, I think sometimes your background and your past can sometimes feel like a challenge, but those challenges you realize years later will help you in developing, you know, some really interesting traits about yourself. So
it's a big deal too that your family's involved. Like, I have a really big passion for, I'm not the only person that's going to be keeping up with this house. You know, if we're going to buy this house, we're buying it as a family, and I'm not going to run up and down the stairs all day. So you guys are responsible. And I think organization, not to make it too simple, is very much like a preschool. You can have 25 preschool kids, 2 adults, and they maintain a very orderly room. And it's because there's clear expectations, clear boundaries, and clear routines. And it's the same thing in a home. So when you can kind of, that's where my passion comes from. And maybe the HR part of me from Bank of America days and all of that. But, and I actually have a black belt, and, well, I used to have black belt. I don't think it's relevant anymore, but 2nd degree black belt. So that structure and that team mentality, and like the fact that everybody has ownership for something, is kind of where I feel like I get very passionate and excited to see kids. And I think it empowers people to work as a team, but also to be good roommates, to be able to be good spouses, to know, that responsibility for the things that you've acquired is a really big deal. So,
but what are those conversations like? Like, how do you train a man and children to follow the system?
So naturally what ends up happening, and we get surprised by, is the neutral party coming in is really important. And so there's been, like, conversations of, like, where does the remote go? You know, like, like, over the years. All of a sudden, Graceful Spaces comes in. We start talking about, like, let's tailor this to your family. Let's get baskets. Let's get systems going. Let's edit. They start seeing the labels, and a neutral party has come in to say, professionally, we have paid someone to come in. So when you pay someone, in and of itself, you're like, I'm going to respect the fact. Yeah, like, I'm going to respect the fact that we've made an investment. And it's not like one person against another person. It's a neutral party comes in who says, like, all right, like, obviously, like, the bin says peanut butter and jelly. We're going to put peanut butter and jelly in there because we all invested and we all, agreed upon it. So I think that neutral party is, like, you don't really necessarily have to, like, come in, like, guns a-blazing and being like, this is what's going to happen. I think they all start naturally feeling it, and the peace that brings in the home. Then all of a sudden, like, the other spouse, whether normally it is, you're right, the husband is like, oh, wait a minute, like, my kids are putting away the groceries? Never mind.
Well, we always start with neutral spaces that are typically emotionally neutral, which is kitchen, pantry, laundry. And that allows everyone to see, what is this whole thing going to look like? And then they see, oh, you're not getting rid of all of my items. You're actually making this easier. A lot of times husbands can become our biggest fans when we say, well, tell me about, what are your goals? I exercise, I do supplements, I do smoothies, I don't want you to mess my system. Hey, what if we did this? Instead of having everything in the pantry and then you go to the blender over here and then you got to run to the refrigerator over here, what if your supplement station is right here? The blender's here, the refrigerator's here, and your drawer's here. You can see down everything you have, and yours is separate from everyone else's. All of a sudden, they're like, I love it. I can't live without this. I don't know how I didn't do this. So that's where that going beyond organizing and not just moving things around, but saying, like, tell me why. Or a snack station. Sometimes husbands will say, I'm so sick of looking at my kids' snacks. They just run here like a little tornado. Great, let's move that out of the pantry and let's have a spot for them where they can be empowered and they're separated. So I think people start to feel like this isn't going to rock my world. It's actually going to make it pretty amazing, and I love it. And so once we get that win, then they're usually the one like, but you're coming back, right? Like, we've booked you again. And kids too. We get a lot of videos of kids like just, they thrive off that. There's so many studies and so many books that talk about how people just love structure. They love expectations. They love being able to achieve and know, like, how can I be successful? And it's, very true in organizing. And it can be different levels. Like for some kids, success is not file folding to perfection your pajamas. Sometimes success is you do your own laundry and you know how to put your pajamas away. I don't need a file fold. I just need it in the right drawer. You've categorized. That's a win. So it depends on every family, but those are things that I feel like just kind of let them feel like this is doable. So.
Talk about when you guys started the business and you created a very successful business in a very short period of time. It probably doesn't feel like a short period of time to you. But you guys work with celebrities. I mean, I'm sure your friends and family think that you've like made it, right? So like,
well, they know
how much of that is like winging it, and how much of it was planning and intentional?
Yeah. Well, so my husband is essentially a consultant for small business financial advisors. So they deal with the same problems we do. They're an expert in their field, but when it comes to business planning, growth, HR, marketing, that's not their skill set. So he helps coach them on how they can build those plans. So he's been involved from the very beginning of like, you guys need to be strategic, you need to be planful, you need to be thoughtful. Organic has always been another part of what we balance, meaning like we can plan all day long, but if it's not fitting or we're moving too fast or too slow, or it's just like go with it.
I think we've said no to a lot of things too, because we've like realized like our capacity gets to a certain point that we're like, it's not organic. Like, is this really truly like going to be the right fit for us? And I think that has hopefully given us, I mean, I would not say that we are balanced people. I totally wouldn't do that. So I do feel like owning your own business is just a ton of work in and of itself, and that is very shocking to me how much work it is. But I do think that our ability to know that like there are a lot of blessings in life that come, and you get if it organically feels right, and then we'll say yes to it. But there's been a lot of things that have come along the way that we've intentionally had to say no, which feels really, really hard sometimes. Yeah. But I think it's hopefully saved us from like saying like this is too much is too much.
Mm-hmm. So we did carry with us that mindset that he established with us. So once a year we do have a planning retreat where we think about what does the next year look like, what are the yeses, what are the nos, what are the opportunities. We bring in ideas and opinions from our team. So this will be our first year that we're actually bringing some of our team members to our planning retreat with us. But we always solicit what's working, what's not for you guys, so that we can sit back and intentionally think about it once a year. And our beginning of the year is the school year because we are a mom. So like nothing productive is happening between November and January. Like that is just get everybody through the holidays and all that. So we do it at the beginning of the year, and then we'll touch base throughout it. And then if something great comes up, I mean, we'll ride with it. I wouldn't say we wing it. Like we will sit back and think. We will poll our team.
We're organizers. We're not great at winging it. We don't thrive in the wing it situation.
But I do think owning your own business, sometimes you just have to be okay with like, this is what's happening right now, and this is where we're at, and we're gonna make the best of it. And
And how did y'all meet, and how did you decide to, like, yes, we're the right partners for each other?
Yeah, well, I had a business partner. I owned my own business for 5 years as an event planning company, and so I had said, no more small business, it's just crazy. And I was on a trip with some other girls who were all entrepreneurs, and they're like, you should be an organizer. And I had a play date with Rebecca. Our daughters are best friends.
Our daughters had a play date. We did not.
To be clear. She was like, how was your trip? And they had recently moved from Manhattan, and Rebecca worked at Chanel Corporate as an account exec, and was just this amazing job. And she's like trying to find like, how do I balance life now? Like I don't want to do nothing, but I want to go back to that. And she said, how's your trip? And I was like, oh, they're crazy. They want me to start an organizing company. There's just no way. And probably for the first and only time in our friendship, she was like, yes, you're doing it, and I'm doing it with you. We're going for it. And it's probably the only time that she was the one that was like, we're doing it, because normally I'm the one leading us over the cliff.
For sure. Yeah, she drives us over cliffs. No, I mean, it was a really unique thing because with my background as a buyer with Neiman Marcus and corporate Chanel, I was like, I don't know, now I'm in Austin, what do I do? And there's some incredible companies in Austin, but none of them I felt like were a right fit for me. But I started like prayer journaling for like 4 days in a row, and I was like, what are the things that I love? And I was like, cleaning. So I was like, so I'm going to go like clean people's houses, which I'm not above. I love to clean. So I was like, okay, I mean, like kind of be weird to clean my neighbor's house, but like, especially coming from my background, but all right, I'm not above it. And so I was like, I love to organize and I love to clean. And like the home edit hadn't come out yet or anything like that. So I didn't know that there was this like incredible industry yet. And so when she mentioned it, it was like this beautiful moment that I was like, that's exactly what I've been praying for. And like the fact that she said it, like since that day. So if you give Christina like a yes to anything, she was like, great. So on Wednesdays and Thursdays, we'll meet from 9 to 1 between our preschools. And I was like, oh my goodness. All right. So we're doing this. So then since that day, it was like, let's do it.
Yeah.
And it's been how long?
5 years.
Okay, so
Thank you.
So then, you got your first jobs and stuff. When did you get like the one where you were like, whoa?
Yeah,
and how did you get that client?
We, I think ours was when the BuzzFeed posted a pantry that we had. Like that was our project that kind of set everything forward. But I mean, my structure and her client expertise helped from the beginning of just, we got one client and then we couldn't stop. And then we started bringing in assistants and we had to bring help and all of that. And so, but the one client that just kind of set us forward, it was an interior designer who reached out and then we clicked and it went really well. We did the pantry and the next thing we know, we were 6,000 square feet in and doing their casita. And then they moved 4 times and told all their friends. And then that's when we're like, we got to hire more people.
Yeah, I think that word of mouth has been the biggest thing. And the interior designer of just like, I think we've now worked parallel with interior, like, I don't know, even over 50 interior designers, because I think they realize like, we're just there to help. We're there to support their vision. In normally something that they don't really, that's not their industry. They don't want to be behind the cabinets. They don't want to be in the pantry or in the closets. They've got big picture items. So they see that we're there to help and kind of get their client to the like maximum of satisfaction with the end product. So that's been really neat to see like those interior designers and builders and architects be like, no, Graceful Spaces, we're on their same team and not like trying to work against them.
Well, and I think they appreciate the ability for us to understand what's going to take it to the next level. I mean, we joke about being crazy and taking it to the next level, but that's what drives the results for our clients and makes them feel like this is amazing, and what allows our interior designers or realtors or architects to be like, I know Graceful Spaces is going to handle this, and I can just rest easy, and that's been a big deal, that they can just continue to feel that way.
I think we appreciate too, like when you have, realtors who are at their top game and they're like, no, I just literally sold this $15 million home. Please don't bring an IKEA bin. Like they want someone who's going to bring that same standard and reflect that same passion of luxury and excellence. So they're like, no, I appreciate the fact that you're listening to her talk about how her her Birkin bags need a cabinet, that need a lock, that have a glass, because it's a reflection upon the incredible service that you guys have already started and the interior organizers have already started. So we, I think that we entertain all the conversations of like, sure, you want your socks to have one drawer. Okay, those things that seem flamboyant or something to other people, we're like, no, this is your home and you've invested. Let's go down this journey with you.
And we've made an effort to bring in employees that can support too. So Rebecca has a background in Chanel, but we also have team members who have background in the luxury jewelry or have background in beauty industry, just so that they can continue to support the things that we don't even know. And as a team, they can be educating us on skincare and hair care, and so that's been fun too, to see everybody stepping in to really make sure that when a client comes with a specific desire, we can knock it out of the park.
I think it's brilliant because we all want our client to have the best possible customer service experience, right? And if they come in and the interior designer is phenomenal, and then you've done all of these things so that they're just going to love their home and their life is going to be so much easier because of the systems that you create. It's brilliant.
The interior designer too, and even in the beginning kind of is, are you trying to take my job? Are you an organizer trying to be an interior designer?
Yeah,
We're
a little bit threatened.
Be super clear.
It's only an enhancement because it really is so different.
Well, and we're not trying to move into that space. We're not trying to expand. We enjoy our lane. And which is why, with movers, we're like, your movers should move you in. That is where they hold the responsibility and the efficiency. Where we hold it is with how to use your space, where your items go based on your goals. We're not choosing paint color, putting hardware on, hanging photos. We're simply understanding where your personal items go and how you can create the best routines and habits to make you most efficient, and your whole teamwork, your whole family work as a team.
Well, I do think that we also have a habit with our clients that we've noticed is they move every 2 years. So, like, the fact that Graceful Spaces is like, right.
Yeah, real estate ADD, the best clients in the world.
Yeah.
So you
it's
just
like,
get all this repeat business.
it's 40% of our business is repeat because they're
Right.
like every 2 years. And like once we moved them in, it's like they've got a lake home. They're talking about a ranch home. They're talking about their home in Aspen that they want to do. So it's like never ending. And because we make the moving process so seamless, it's fantastic for
so
anyone.
easy for them.
Yeah.
Because
Can you imagine being moved in 2 weeks? Like, you're functioning with not like, oh, I moved in, I'm out of boxes. Like, no, every supplement, every kid's toy, every grilling tool, everything is meticulously in its spot in 2 weeks, which is,
So talk a little bit about the difference in moving someone in and getting them organized, and then a first-time client as they're getting ready to sell their house and they need help, like with presentation.
We claim that both are the same and that the end result is the same. We've always believed that when your home is efficiently organized, you can list your house tomorrow. You live as if you're ready to list, or not meaning you don't have anything, but you have a very easy flow. There's nothing shoved anywhere. There's no crammed closets. So the end result is the same with both, but the way that you go about it is a little different.
Well, and about 2 weeks ago, we had a client that we had organized her home before she moved, and her husband was like, I can't believe we're doing this. Like, we literally like building this other home, and now we're going to organize their current home. But she had 4 kids, and they had multiple homes, and she was like, I just need the peace now. Like, I want to bring the peace on now. So we organized everything in her current home. When we moved everything to the next home, we spent $150 in product for that second home because we were able to reuse all the product from the first. And when the basket of bread came over, like the movers could literally just take the basket, put it into the box, and like we completely did their home in 1 week, like Monday through Thursday, 9 to 2. They were in a different state enjoying their children, and they came home to like their entire home unpacked because they had already done it at the get-go. So it was just such a neat testament to what we do of like, this will move with you in every single home. The product might look different, the spaces might look different, but the same idea is behind it of like school uniforms go here and hangers are going to all stay the same. And
sports and
and we don't, product's really important to us. We love Home Goods and Marshalls and whatnot, but we don't use that in our home. We use things that are like West Elm, Crate and Barrel, Container Store that you can continue to add on to because they're timeless pieces. So if we used 5 of them in the second home, we know that they're still going to have it at Container Store, so we can continue to match it, and it just has a consistent flow to it. So I think that's really important too, that it's not just this like grab and go, let's see what's available that week.
So yeah, we have an inventory. This is like $100,000, but in both cities of inventory where we can use what we know is right versus what's on what's available to us at the moment. But to your question around like what's the process for both, whether it's moving or a new client, it's everything out to categorize it because you've got to see what you have and where it's going to go. So if there are tools in 4 different rooms, we're going to get all the tools together and categorize them and decide where are the homes. Obviously, there's one primary home. Do we need secondary homes? Because we're also doing home maintenance. It's 4 stories, and we need to have kind of a mini home maintenance zone. But having everything together helps us see. And it also starts to reveal the habits that people may or may not acknowledge that they have.
They have like 25 scissors, and they're like, why can't I ever find those? Like, that's crazy that I have that many.
Yeah, that's definitely my husband. Before we started recording, you were talking about, if you're going to list your house in the market and someone opens a cabinet and it's like just the appearance and the feeling that it gives to them about the rest of the house. So talk a little bit about like the importance of that and how you get them there.
Yeah.
If agents are listening who have a listing coming up and the house is not organized, like how much advance notice do you guys need to like whip a house into show shape?
Yeah. So the house that we were discussing that was our first BuzzFeed excitement. That one, they sold it shortly after we organized it, and they saw this was in a normal market pre-COVID, pre-everything. And they saw it just go right off the market and they attributed it to the organization. The clients called, she's like, you've got to do this again for any house I ever have or sell, because everyone walked in and just kept commenting that this home must just flow so well. There's something about this home that just makes you live a more organized life. And that, can be true that a home can support that, but really it's, getting an organized system. And like you said, that piece.
And we've had a few clients who've reached out and been like, I sold my house, and they dared to say, I want to buy all the product with the house. Like all the baskets, but they're like, but I invested in all that product. And we're like, we could do it again if it's going to sell your house. We can do it again. But it's just really neat, like how people are like, oh, wait a minute. Like, is that a part of the home? Like, can we leave the baskets and bins that say whatever it is? Like,
I think that there's a key part to that. We do a design meeting with all of our clients prior so that it matches the flow of the house. It's not just, oh, we think these are great. These are the colors. Tell me about your aesthetics. Tell me about your environmental preferences, your dietary preferences. Like, what were you going for in the house? I see it being coastal modern, but is that really what you were going for? And trying to we're not basket makers, but we can support the flow. So I kind of think that's why they want to buy it, because it's almost like it just fits. Matches. As far as turning it around, that timetable, it's dependent on the size of the home, the amount of items that someone has. In Austin, we do have a waiting list that's booked pretty far in advance. So that's more of a 4-month turnaround. So we're not able to do that as much. We have 12 team members there, but still have the wait list. In Charleston, we're more of like a 1 month, but we have more flexibility to be able to pop in. A lot of times too, if it's an urgent turnaround, we can get some of those primary spaces, pantry, primary bathrooms, help with some of the normal, like maybe what are the first cabinets you see when you walk in, where are people drawn to, and kind of get some of that taken care of.
Do you do garages?
Only in the cooler months.
Yeah.
Okay. Cooler climate-controlled garage. We do garages. Rebecca actually has one, the Dapper Dwelling, that's on, we have a home tour that you can go see, which is like, you could just get lost in those beautiful homes. But it's a tour of the homes and the aesthetics of their home, but it's also a tour of the organization. But she did a garage where she measured out. So we support whether that's a custom build or if it's alpha using the system that Container Store puts in. So the Dapper Dwelling is a good one to look at for garages because, again, like it was not just going to the Container Store and being like, cool, that looks like a nice shelf. It was, all right, what kind of pool accessories, what kind of hardware are we putting out here? What kind of tools, what kind of sports activities, what kind of all of that went into it. And then she drew out what the alpha would look like with notes on what each item was going into the specific sections of the alpha. So that was really fun to watch.
I'm sure you guys see a lot of these like gorgeous homes, and all of a sudden you get to the garage and they've like decided to do zero storage. And it's just like a clean slate, and it's like, where are all my items going to go? Mm-hmm. But yet the inside is just as spectacular. So I enjoy going in there and let's talk about a seasonal mudroom. And so like outside in the garage, it's like your lacrosse sticks and your muddy shoes and all that stuff. But the inside is also going to support like the homework and the backpacks and all that stuff. So making the garage really support the rest of the home and getting the right storage out there, whether it's Building Lux or Alpha, I think is just an incredible support to keep up the sustainability of the inside of the home. So,
well, and sometimes I think people hear all this and they start to feel this like, oh my gosh, it's so overwhelming. And going back to, you guys said we love Chick-fil-A, and we do. And we love the Neiman Marcus and the Chanel and that same mindset. So whether it's a handbag or chicken, it's my pleasure, and I'm going to handle this and make your life easier. And that's what we try to do too. So, with our clients who have very busy lives and are just all over, we want to make sure that they don't feel like you have to be here all day to make some decisions that impact you. So we have systems and routines where we can check in with them, we can update them. We have a very systematic process, as you can imagine, an organized process where we can bring into account things that are very important to them, but they don't have to be there all day. Like you said, we've had clients be on vacation. We had one client was in Africa.
That's what I would do.
Me too.
I just want to come home to it.
Yes, let the professional do their thing.
Yeah.
I'm not into anyway.
You don't want to sit and go through baskets with us?
No.
She's like, I am running away.
How do you guys charge? Do you charge? Just go with that.
Transparency is a really big deal because in this industry and in industries around us, there's a lot of surprises at the end, right? And that's the opposite of what we're trying to do, meaning you get one quote and end up with a bill that's twice as much. And we are an hourly service, so it's a really big deal that we're accurate with that. So, and I think that's another reason why we've gained the trust and the confidence of repeat clients, referrals, and also that connections with the industries around ours, because they know we're going to be honest from the beginning. So that includes doing an assessment of the home, seeing the personal items, and then keeping up with, we have a in-house product calculator, so we know exactly what the prices are, whether they're up and down for the baskets and the bins. And we go into a consultation and just give them an assessment of how much it's going to cost. We overbid always, so that when we're done early, it's a success and a celebration for everybody. And then we provide at the back end an itemized list. Everybody's on a time clock, so we itemized list of the hours that everyone was working, itemized list of every item that went to your home, and it's got the location, the price, the quantity, and then you can see the breakdown by space of what you invested in. So we try to go above and beyond so that they feel like I know exactly where this went and what happened. But it is an hourly service. And again, we try to take that fear out of it. So we're only charging for when we're in the home, returns, research and development. That's all on us. Anything else that we do behind the scenes is on us. Like I said, we keep that inventory in that warehouse so that we can
and I think that's
the
the repeat client that we talk about, 40%. I think it's because we are overly and there's a 3-night, the product calculator is pantry, it will tell you everywhere in the house. It's here's your 3,000 items, and they're itemized where they are in your home. So whether it's a wife or a husband, but normally it's the husband who's oh, I see where the $4,000 went. It's not all of a sudden what we've heard a lot in the past, and what we wanted to go above and beyond is I got a bunch of receipts and things scanned, and someone just told me you owe me $4,000.
Right, they did. I've spent this and I returned that. You must owe me the difference. And there's so much room for error in that, in so many different ways. And then when it comes to being an hourly service, it's important that our team members are very efficient. They're very effective. So all of our projects have a project manager, a team lead, but a project manager essentially to make sure we're moving forward. There's never a dull moment, that everybody's as efficient as moving as quickly as possible. So that's been a big deal to help us get through some homes pretty quickly. We had one, it was a move-in project that was, it was a 3-story house in South Padre, and it was also it was a fresh start. So we brought a moving truck, literally, of all those 3,000 different essentials. And in 1 week, a team of 7 unpacked the whole house, every bathroom, every closet, every kitchen. There's 2 kitchens, laundry room, all of it was done. So, Graceful Spaces moves. The team really moves, and it's fun to see.
So what's an average low-end project cost, and what's the high-end, the works, we do nuts to butts, construction, everything?
The lowest is probably, it starts at $10,000 to do maybe kitchen, pantry, laundry, and then, and keeping in mind, we're not cutting corners on any of it. So it's front to end, top to bottom. There's no let's piecemeal a little bit of this and a little bit of that. We're doing it once, we're doing it right. You're going to feel the Graceful Spaces difference. And then up to 60, I think, is probably where that caps out. And that's including the labor, the product, labels, all of that.
And I think it's such a good investment. It's just like we were talking about before we started recording, when somebody opens, because that's what happens when we show houses. Don't look in my junk drawer, y'all.
Oh, there's a surprise attack after this.
There's some treats in there. But I know everyone goes, and my house is for sale, and they open that junk drawer, and probably make all kinds of judgments, But you want to open the cabinets, and everything with real estate is a feeling, right? So when you feel at ease and you feel like everything is organized and clean and the systems are in place, and wow, look at how this person takes care of their home. Yeah. This home is in great shape. Yeah. Then you get all of that back.
Well, and it's easier to clean, to be honest. it's even you get all the baskets in the bin. It makes everything more seamless because you can see it. When something's out of place. It makes it easier to just identify that needs to be taken care of. We also try to have systems in the kids' spaces where it gets overwhelmed when they outgrow or they get new hand-me-downs and things, having those systems so it's not all front and center. There's a spot for everything that makes a big difference. But the feeling is a really big one, and we've seen that with so many people say, I just feel at peace here. We actually had a client say, I canceled several vacations because I want to be home now. And that's a really big
What
testament.
yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Is there anything else that you guys want to add about services that you offer or anything like that?
I think that, for us, it's just about that incredible experience that is unmatched. And I think a lot of people think of an organizer as someone who can maybe be a house cleaner. Maybe they're just moving and categorizing items. And we definitely categorize, but that's like step one of what we're doing. And we're taking it beyond to say, let's make your habits, your routines easier and more fun. And that's why I really think is cool when you can start identifying how your house can support your goals, especially when you're a fast-moving entrepreneur, mom, or anything else. You just want to use your home efficiently. Your biggest investment is here, and yet we run from it and find our success in all these other places, but it can be such a support. So
Yeah.
I think
And I
that's
love what you said too. It's an investment in your home. It's where you are every day. So to wake up and to end your day in your home and to make it feel peaceful and to have that same elevated style that you're putting into your fashion and your home decor, like it's just taking it to that another level, which is what we love to do.
Yeah.
So.
Well, tell everybody how to find you guys again on your website
Well, so
and
we are
Instagram.
gracefulspaces.com, and you can find us at Graceful Spaces Organizing on Instagram. We do have a TikTok account too, where there's some fun videos going on. There's a more therapeutic and fun. But you also go to our website and see our home tours. Those are really fun. You can see by home and kind of just take a little tour of all the different spaces that we've organized. We also include some of the interior designers' work. There's some really cool. We were telling you guys about the moss wall. One half of the house was white. The other half was black. Big moss wall in the beginning, in the middle. That was the Magical Moss Project. We've also done some comparisons too. I think this was really interesting. And we have a couple of clients who've, like we said, moved. One of them had 1,500 square feet and then 6,000 square feet. Same collection of beautiful handbags and shoes. And we have a blog there about just how we can find solutions for the same collection in two very, very different homes, and that the size isn't necessarily the success of organizations. So there's some fun
shoving
stuff.
all the shoes into the handbags before you put them on the shelf.
Exactly.
You did not get a job with Graceful Spaces. I'm so sorry.
We parked an RV in the driveway and we're like, this is your shoe salon. Exactly.
Well, thank you. This was
Yeah.
fun and awesome. I think congratulations
Thank you
on
for having us.
successful
Really
business.
appreciate it.
Thank
Love talking
you.
to you girls.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for joining us. All right. Thanks for listening, everybody. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.